singer and traveled the world. He had a song called Wild Thing and Funky Cold Medina, and that
So
just took
dope.
off. Yes, this took off, right? And that helped me take off because he was my cousin. Plus, I didn't look African American, but I'm African American. So it was one of those things where, I had this identity all of a sudden, but I was miserable in that world when I became a talent agent. I started working with top celebrities. I worked with Janet Jackson, Madonna, Prince, and all these people are surrounded by these so-called godlike people to the world. But then I saw personality traits in them that were human. But people see only the 3-minute video and they think they're amazing. But I would see them, in the coming out of the bathroom or screaming at people and all the things that you don't see on video. And it was really interesting because I quit being a talent agent
Hmm.
because I wanted to break away from the dysfunction of the entertainment industry and fell into the fitness industry because, like I said, when I had a situation with my dad, I took up kickboxing. And then Billy Blank came out with Taibo, he asked me for some help. And next thing I know, I'm doing that. I'm like, let me just start doing some boxing. So I did some boxing classes and that turned into a huge business and fell into the fitness entertainment industry as well. So that's how it all started. And it was really interesting because you never leave the entertainment industry when you're in it unless you really cut it, and I cut it clean when I got into life insurance sales. That was that's a cut and cleave right there. So if you want to leave all your family and friends, become a life agent, and they won't call you back. That's what I did.
And isn't it amazing? First of all, shout out to your cousin because I grew up dancing to that. That
Oh, you did?
oh yeah, absolutely, all of his music.
uh,
Um, I think you and I might be about the same age actually. I'm in my mid-40s.
I'm up.
Yeah, okay. You said something that was really, really important for people to hear. And it definitely caught my attention. You said that you're African American, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So this is why this is so important. Don't assume you know what somebody is. And that's why you don't say things that you shouldn't be saying. And this happens to me all the time because I'm Jewish, and nobody thinks I'm Jewish because of the color of my skin. Jews come in all different colors. And I've explained to you even more now than ever to stop making assumptions that you know somebody's story. I'm so glad you brought that up, Julian. I'm so glad you brought that up. So you made this huge life change, right? You made this huge life change. What did you learn from your experiences? Like, do you feel like you came into your own through all of it?
Not at all. So this was interesting about that. Not at all. Jim Rohn says it best. It takes half a lifetime to realize it's a solo act. It really is completely up to you. And at that time, I was really deflecting the emotion. I was still looking for that acceptance. And I'm glad we're talking about the race and culture. And I say culture because, there is color lines. There is obviously the different color between red and green, but culturally is what we need to look at. There are cultures, and if you look at how I changed, what I did was always looking for that tribal environment. I was looking to be accepted, to feel worthy, and entertainment didn't give it to me per se. The fitness industry didn't give it to me per se. And when I left the fitness industry, I left because I didn't have enough understanding of myself. I took the advice of someone who I was my mentor at that time, who was a businessman who said maybe you should do something different. If you're going to get married, you need to be able to have a 401k. Well, I didn't know what a 401k was at the time because I never had a man in my life. I never had a person, I shouldn't say man, anybody in my life that spoke business. All I knew was entertainers, partiers, and drinkers, and guys that just played and had fun. So when I went and met these people, they were talking about getting a stable job. I had no idea what that meant. Even though I was making, well over $1 million a year, I was blowing it because I didn't know how to save money. I just partied and bought cars and things of that nature. So I didn't change. If anything, it just kind of kept enforcing the same behaviors. And so only time I changed is really when I started focusing on the sub-self, the shadow self, the issues, the ego, because like you said, um, people tend to think they know something and move forward. I had to become a student and a humble student to everything. And that's when I started to change, when I realized I knew nothing. And even today, I still know nothing. I'm still learning. And what I think I know today could change by some new discovery tomorrow. So I'm open to everything. And going back to race, I mean, I did a, after studying the whole, Eastern and world religions, there is a difference. I mean, to realize that, Europeans are light skinned because where the Europeans are from, the sun hardly rises, so they don't need to develop melanin in their skin. The melanin protects the organs from the sun rays. That's really why Africans are darker, and that's why Indians are darker, because they're where they're from. The sun is beating down, so the body develops melanin. You would develop it, I develop it getting in the sun. Europeans didn't have that, so when they go out in the sun, they get red because the body hasn't adapted to the culture and to the environment. Same with food and seasoning, music based off the animals, the skins and how they make music, the skin, all this stuff is culturally designed. It's not a race, it's a culture. And when you realize you appreciate the culture is adapted to this environments, you realize that the taller you are, the cooler your body is. This is why, we see a lot of tall African Americans, you see tall Indians, the shorter it is, the more body it stays warm. You see a lot of short Asians because where they're from, it gets really cold. The flaps over their eyes protect their eyes from the storms over there. The windstorms the rocks are so big that they develop a little flap over their eyelid to protect their eyes from those windstorms. I mean, you realize the body's just adapting, but we're all the same person. Just we put on a different suit based off the cultural environment in which we are. So that changes everything. I'm not judging you by your color. I'm judging you by judging me, and that's the difference.
Can you say that again, please? Because that needs to be heard, because I felt that way my whole life.
Yeah, I'm not judging you by your appearance. I'm judging you by how I judge me. So if I hate you, I'm hating me because you and I are exactly the same. You know exactly what it feels like to feel sad. Hey, so do I. You know exactly what it feels like to feel joy. So do I. That's all we have is the human experience, and we're all experiencing it together. And there's this whole concept of color is really temporal. It's such a temporal thing because we're eternal spirit. So let's focus on that, which long term, not temporal. And that's what I try to do now.
And that was beautiful, by the way. I love what you said all. Julian, you're trying to motivate people through your work and everything you're doing. Could you please give my network 3 tips on how to motivate themselves like you have?
Yeah, well, first tip is to literally understand that your habits is your number one demise. Start challenging your habits. Start thinking about what do you do on a continual basis that is getting you that's repeating the same behaviors. Realize that. That's the first thing. Change a habit. If it means, like, I'll use a good example. I'm coaching someone right now who says she can never lose weight, she can never work out. I'm like, you're judging yourself based off the visuals from the magazines. You see all these fit people, and how does that make you feel? Well, I discourage, so you don't get up. So stop looking at those first of all, because fitness has nothing to do with physique. I know some very heavy people that are very fit, and also in the 40s there was pills being sold to women to gain weight so they could be sexy. I even have a magazine clip of that where in the 40s was about looking heavy because that was considered beautiful. Now we've changed our society. So understand the habits that you're taking in. So if it means getting up and just going outside, take a deep breath and early and come back and lay down, that's a start. So create small habits versus big habits. And then I say, I hate, I don't think goals are good. And I know that sounds crazy. Write down what experiences you want because goals change. Years ago I said I wanted a Porsche. Now I don't want a Porsche. So it's like understand, write down experiences you want to experience. And then the third thing was